we're always waiting for like this huge thing.
Yeah.
You're like, this is going to be the moment. And it's like, no, those are the micro things when you're like, oh, here's a pattern. Great. How can I learn from this? And then take the next step the next time it happens, or shorten the gap when that does happen.
Welcome to the Confident Podcast. I am Lisa Tarkington, your guide to mastering confidence and leadership. As a business and life coach, keynote speaker, and the driving force behind LEAD, I am here to help you break free from self-doubt, silence the imposter syndrome, and step into your power as the person you're meant to be. If you press play today, it's because you're ready for something bigger. Each week, I'll bring you real, raw conversations and actionable insights that will empower you to redefine your leadership, reclaim your confidence, and transform into the unstoppable force you've always known that you could be. This isn't just another podcast. It's a journey we're on together. So buckle up and let's dive into this transformation. Your next level awaits. Hi, everybody. Welcome back for another episode of the Confident Podcast. I hope that your day is going amazing and that you are ready to dive into an amazing episode full of talking about confidence, as always, but also about listening to our intuition, understanding our bodies, and really just kind of diving into learning about how we choose ourselves. You know, this is a really amazing conversation that I had so much fun talking about, and I didn't do it alone. I'll share about the guest here in a second, but I think it was really cool to talk about all of the mindset work and all the skills that I teach and how it really plays into our nervous system, how it plays into our body, and how we really need to listen to ourselves, how we all have the answers inside. It's okay to get help, right? Like, I'm a coach. I love helping people, and I also have a coach myself. So I sometimes need that accountability as well to dive a little bit deeper. But the coolest thing about everything that we do in our lives is we have the answers inside. Sometimes we need to talk about it. Sometimes we need to reflect a little bit. But at the end of the day, we get to choose. And throughout this whole conversation that I'm about to have and have you guys dive into is you're going to hear some amazing things that you can implement directly into your life, things that will help your nervous system, things that are going to help you reflect, and honestly, just relatability in general as well, which I'm really, really happy about. And I just love bringing to this table. So again, I'm not doing this alone. We are bringing on Mallory Campbell. She is a trauma-informed coach, but has a history of so many great entrepreneurial stories and just an outstanding human being. So her and I chat about all of these different things, and we also share our stories of how we manage these things and these expectations of ourselves, and also a lot of things that society and the outside world has put on us and how we're really trying to work internally to retrain our brains, but also retraining our bodies. So I cannot wait for you to tune in. So let's get right into this episode. Well, welcome, Mallory, to the Confident Podcast. We are so excited to be chatting with you today.
Yes, I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's going to be great. And I'm really excited to not only hear a couple of things that you do in your business, but before we do that, I just need to know the person behind the screen, right? And I think the audience needs to hear it too. So can you share a little bit about your journey of where have you been and how you got to where you're at right now?
Yeah, so I'll take it back just a little bit.
Okay.
I went to school for personal training, not really knowing what I wanted to do. I remember coming home. I've been with my husband for 18 years now, and I came home. We weren't living together at the time, and I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to go to school for personal training. And this was in 2009. So it was a long time ago. And it was kind of random. But when I look back at the progression of how I got to where I am, those kind of decisions have gotten me really far before I even really knew what I was doing. And I'm like, I'm just going to go all in. And he's like, I don't know where this came from, but I support it. This is great. My parents were like, okay, sure. I came from a background of graphic design. I've done graphic design 10, 15 years. It's one of my favorite things to do. I still do all of my own content because it's one of my strong, I just love it.
Yeah.
So I came from graphic design. I'm like, I'm going to go to school for personal training. Great. I did that, went and got my certification, started working in a gym, and started training clients. And then I ended up partnering in a fitness studio. I taught Zumba fitness, boot camp, dance fitness, all of these things for quite some time. And I'm like, I want to take this even bigger. So I approached a woman who I was taking classes with, and I'm like, let's expand it and make it bigger. And it was kind of one of those things that we're like, we'll just figure it out. I think we can do this. So we did. So I went all into that area of life. I was teaching 6 days a week, teaching 3 classes a day. It was quite intense.
Yeah.
But it's a huge part of my life. I grew up dancing, very athletic, and like, this is my sweet spot. So I've always had that entrepreneurial feel. Like my dad is an entrepreneur, so I really didn't know anything else. I wasn't cut out for a 9 to 5 job. I think I had 2 quote unquote real jobs for like 2 days. And I'm like, this ain't for me. Like I worked at a Baskin Robbins for 5 minutes and I'm like, I'm not coming back. I was like 16 years old. I just knew, I'm like, I can't do it. It's not my vibe. So I co-owned a fitness studio for 7 years. I also got into bodybuilding. I competed professionally. So where you wear like the sparkly suits and the clear heels and you get judged on the stage and that whole thing. I did that for 7 years, also kind of just like, I think I'm going to do it. This came from having 2 kids. I'm like, I just want to go all in. So I, again, went all in on that. So there's been a couple different phases of life and seasons that I've been through. In that time, I also started network marketing, which was a great, amazing experience. I don't do it anymore, but that also built such a great foundation for building community and bringing a lot of women together. So between those 2 things, that's really when I started to realize, okay, this is something I'm super passionate about, is working with groups of women one-on-one, individually, together, collectively as a whole, leading a lot of people. And I'm like, okay. So in the network marketing space, as I was training my clients, I'm like, there is something in here that women aren't reaching their full potentials and their goals. And I shouldn't say everyone, but a lot of people are like, well, it's my schedule, it's my kids, it's my husband, it's my partner, it's my spouse. I just got to lose this last 10 pounds. And we weren't focusing on a deeper level of what really was coming up emotionally. It was just all of the external things. And that's when I really started to get into the world of personal development. I joined my first high-level mastermind. I started a podcast with my husband, and I'm like, okay, let me test this out. So I started a group coaching program, not really knowing what I was doing. I hired a coach. I'm like, I'm going to find somebody who's doing what I'm doing, who knows what they're doing, and follow them. Great. So I just kind of created this program back in 2020, threw it out there. And luckily, I already had a pretty large community of women from my fitness studio, from network marketing, from all these different areas of life. I'm like, this is what I'm doing. We're going all in. Do you want to come with me? And they're like, yeah, let's do it. And I'm like, okay. So I threw this beta program together, put it out there, and it worked. It worked really well. We started talking about mindset and personal development things, a little bit on limiting beliefs and core values. And I'm like, whoa, this is a part that so many women and people as a whole, not just women, men and women both, we were missing that element. And I'll speak for myself and also the women and people that I've worked with as well. But then I was like, okay, I think we're on to something. So I started creating these groups. It was a 12-week program. I was designing it like in the air. I'm like, okay, great. I got the first 2 weeks done. Let's see what they need. I'll build it as we go, kind of feel into what the women were needing. My first group had 12 women. And we went through 12 weeks together. And it was probably one of the most transformational programs that I've ever done, because I was also doing it right along with them. I'm like, okay, we're going to figure this out. And we're going to put all these tools into place. And that's really what started my coaching business. And then about 2 to 3 years into that, I started noticing some other blockages with myself and my clients as well. Now it was more step in the body. Things that just the mindset tools weren't quite getting at yet. We were just scratching the surface. And that's when I decided to get a certification to become a master trauma-informed coach. So now I work with a lot of people bringing the mindset tools together, but now bringing the body in as well. So now we're working within the body with our nervous system, rewiring parts of ourselves, figuring out where that energy is stuck and blocked. Because now we have the mindset and we're like, I still get the same feeling or thought when I'm going to make a choice or I have to have a conversation and I can't do it. There's something happening. I get this tightness in my chest or I can't, my hips are tight. And I'm like, okay, now let's unlock this and let's bring them together and then create this new version of yourself, this new life. And now I bring it together with retreats and workshops and different groups and events. And that's really where I see the biggest transformation is when women come into either my workshop space or they come on my 5-day retreats where we bring in all of the elements of the nervous system, the breath work, the energy healing, but we also have a lot of fun because that's a big piece for a lot of women is that we felt like we're too much growing up. We've had these beliefs that have been wired deeply into our subconscious, rooted into our bodies, that if we take up too much space and we're too loud and we can't do this, we were told to be quiet. And now this is really our space, platform, and an experience to be able to bring all of those things in and embody the work. And then we come out of that just a different, higher version of ourselves.
I love your journey. It's actually funny because like, as you're talking, like, okay, did she like never ever have fear? Like,
oh, girl,
because
there's been a lot of fear.
Because as you were talking, I'm just like, okay, like, because you've had pivots. You've had a lot of pivots.
So many pivots.
And like, what was the moment? So I'm going to, before we dive into some other things that I have for today, I want to know, like, so you had pivots. And I think people are scared of pivots sometimes, right?
Yes.
You can feel it coming up. You can feel it going. But then you're like, if I do this, then I'm going to have to get uncomfortable. It's scary. So like, walk us through some of that.
There's been... And it's funny because I kind of look at the segmented parts of my life and it all makes sense, but there's some things I'm like, oh, now I can see it, right? And I have a couple friends and clients I've worked with who they were in one part of their life and like, I think I just want to uproot this and do something completely different. And then our identity starts to come up and you're like, well, this is what happened to me specifically with my fitness studio. That was who I was. I was part of the face. I had a co-owner. So we were the studio. It was part of who we were. I was the fitness instructor, the bodybuilding competitor. Like that was the image and the identity that I've built up for myself. And when I made that decision, I remember calling my business partner. I was just sobbing. I'm like, I think I have to step away. And in that moment, I was like, I don't know who I am without this. This is like, I don't know who I am, what I'm going to be. And it's funny, that was one of the pivots. And when I joined my first high level mastermind with my husband, he was in personal development a little bit before I was. And he was like, I think you're going to join this group with me. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't know, because I was ending my network marketing, just stepping away from the studio. And I'm like, I have nothing. I have nothing to contribute, nothing to add. I don't want to go there. Like, what am I going to do? Just sit there and twiddle my thumbs while these like people are doing all these amazing things. And he was like, no, you're going to go. So in that pivot, it was like that moment. I'm like, okay, I could either just sit here and retreat and thankfully I have the best support system with my husband. He goes all in on whatever I want to do, whenever I want to do it. So I'm very thankful and grateful for that. But I was like, okay, this is a huge pivot for me to step away. I had a really large team in network marketing as well, a couple hundred women. And I'm like, I'm just going to uproot and step back. And I'm like, hey, I don't know where I'm going to go, but I knew if I stayed in that, like that was like the discomfort that's like not productive of like, I'm just going to give up and retreat and avoid. Yeah. Like, no, I can just step in and go all in and see what's out there and allow the people in this room to kind of pour into me and figure out where I want to go. So there's been so many pivots, and I don't even like to call them failures. It's just redirection, right? To wherever you're supposed to go next. But there has been so many parts in between all of those things where I'm like, okay, even with my brand where it is now, I'm like, I've created programs and never launched them because it just didn't feel right within my body. I'm like, I'm forcing myself to do this thing and I don't really want to do it. And it took me a long time to get there, because we assume people have expectations of what we're supposed to do, or people look at you a certain way, especially now with social media. It's like, well, you've been doing this thing for so long and now you're just going to go over here and do this thing. It's like, what are people going to think? So we have to go through that whole process of unpacking, not only because, what people think, that's one thing, but like, what is it that you really think about yourself? Where do you want to create your identity from? And how are you going to take the moves to get there? And what does your support system look like? So there's a lot of elements. And between my husband and I, we've had many, many things just go sideways. And we're like, well, okay, now we know we're exactly where we're supposed to be anyway, because that's where we are. Like, that's truly what we believe. If we were supposed to be somewhere else, we'd be there. Yeah. So there's a reason we're here in this moment. So we just got to figure it out. And I'll go through my own process. And my attachment style is an avoidant. So I'll kind of pull back a little bit.
At least you know that.
When I start to feel those things, I'm like, okay, what do I need to do in order to get my stuff in a row to where I want to take it next? And usually that takes like 2 hours just to sit down and regroup. And I'm like, okay, it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. Let's keep going.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's been a lot.
Well, and I appreciate you sharing that, because I think that that's the thing too, is we get to see the afterglow on social, right? We get to see the girl put together. And I think we all are like, I don't even know what it was the other day, but someone's like, no one has it all together. And we all know that. But I think
Yes.
sometimes we aspire to have it all together.
Mhm.
The other cool thing that you shared was that, through pivots, you have to get uncomfortable. And, but it's also the reflection that you said is like, we are like, okay, I have to, set aside 4 days to reflect. And sometimes it's just two.
Yeah.
2 hours,
Yes.
to your point. Like
Yes.
those are the things that really came up for me as you were talking is like we make it sometimes, we put our victim mindset on,
Yes.
right? And really
yeah.
it's like, okay, it wasn't that bad. We just poor pity me.
Yes.
You know?
And sometimes, you go through that and that's
Totally.
fine. Like let yourself feel,
Yes.
instead of avoiding and shutting it down and numbing with other things. And it's like, sometimes we just got to feel that level of discomfort. And you're like, okay, let me feel it. Because for me, I would shut that off for so long and be like, it's not safe to feel this discomfort. I don't want to feel this because I never knew how to regulate those emotions. So what would I do? I'd find other things to fill that void instead of processing. And that's where now we start to get stuck energetically when those things come up and we're reminded of other scenarios in your life, other situations, even if it's different, the feeling might be the same. Yeah. So we revert back to the old coping mechanisms when we didn't have the safety. We didn't know how to process emotion. We're like, we do that until it doesn't work. Like we'll hold on, like white knuckle, hold on until we no longer have a choice than to change and shift the energy. And that's where I really love supporting women and myself, because it's like, we get to that point where we're like, oh my gosh, like, okay, now I got to do something now because I don't want to sit in this and relive this cycle, sometimes for another year of like, I was going to make my move 10 months ago and I still didn't do it. And I'm still feeling the same feelings. It's like, okay, now is the time to make a choice.
Yeah. And to your point, like it's the emotions of anxiety is going to come up when that stuff comes up. Like I'm even like my heart is pitter pattering thinking about so many times when like you're like, I can either sit in this discomfort in 2 different ways, right? Like go deep, go all in, or I can just continue this pivot and this like, okay, I'm just going to sit here and hate this, but I'm not going to do anything about it, right?
Yeah.
The other day, one of my clients was and I were just chatting about this of like, she had some goals that she had for herself. And I was just checking in to see how they were coming. And she's like, I did really good at everything else in my life this week because I was avoiding doing these things. And she's like, all I needed to do was sit down for 2 hours. Why am I like not doing this? And we talk like, right. Like, and I can relate. I think everybody can relate because you have to sometimes do that and then have that reflection of, okay, I did this. I'm not going to do this again because I'm never going to achieve that goal. Right?
Yes. Yes. You'll find yourself organizing stuff in your closet and you're like, I don't need to be doing this right now. Like, you'll pick the random stuff and you're like, oh my gosh, like this is great learning lesson of like, okay, this is one of my patterns. This is one of my things that I do. And that's a huge level of growth is even just having the awareness around doing that, and people miss those things sometimes because we're always waiting for like this huge thing. Yeah. You're like, this is going to be the moment. And it's like, no, those are the micro things when you're like, oh, here's a pattern. Great. How can I learn from this and then take the next step the next time it happens or shorten the gap when that does happen?
Yes. I mean, I'll give you an example. This morning, literally, I had 2 hours where I had blocked on my calendar to work on something. And I like noticed that I was like working on something else.
Yes.
And I like caught my pattern, did nothing about my pattern. Let's be honest here. I was like, okay, I was also in the moment too of like, I don't have the energy for what I need to focus on. And I know when I do have the energy, it's just going to fire off. I'm not going to force it. The other thing I noticed though too, is we go back to our defaults a lot, right? Like maybe you do this with graphic design or something that you were really good at for a long time where you're like, I'm just going to focus here because I know I'm good at this. And I'm just going to focus on this. And I've had to work a lot on my skill set of like, well, I've always been good at this, but that doesn't mean that that's where I want to be anymore. And that's okay. It's just now retraining our brains and our mindset to think differently.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you think about confidence, I'm going to finally dive into all the questions that I actually had for you. So, when you're focused on helping individuals activate like their confidence from the inside out, like how do you do that? And why is that important?
Yeah. And it's always an inside job, right? And it can be complemented with the external too, right? It is also by how we dress and how we present ourselves. Those are huge parts of that too, right? Like you could put on an outfit and immediately you feel good about yourself, right? Not always the case if we're really going layers and layers deeper, because there are usually blocks or things that come up that are rooted a little bit deeper. Our limiting beliefs, self-sabotaging patterns, right? Kind of like we were just talking about. But it really comes down to getting to the root. And when your body feels safe enough to do that, and we can't always force it, right? I'm sure many people listening, we've tried to force something and we're like, it's just not time yet. So really finding the safety within is a huge thing for so many of us. And I'll speak for myself that I was always safe, right? But there's parts emotionally that were just like, I'm not safe to express a lot of the things that are coming up for me right now, because I don't know how it's going to be received. I don't know what the expectations are. People expect me to be this way, not this way. So it really is about going a couple layers deeper when it's presented in a way that feels good. Sometimes it always doesn't feel good and you're smacked over the head with it and you're like, okay, great. Now is the time, right? But really, really allowing yourself the safety and the space to go a layer deeper. And when we get activated in these things, catch it and then be able to sit with yourself and give yourself what you need. Finding safe ways to express yourself is a big confidence booster as well, because a lot of the things that come up for us, they're rooted in deeper beliefs of, I'm not enough, right? I'm not worthy enough. I can't handle this situation. And those aren't even conscious thoughts for a lot of us. They're subconscious, you know? So really having that combination of working with the external and bringing in the internal to be able to speak your truth and find the alignment. So many people are chasing alignment. You're like, what does that even mean? Right? I don't even know. It's like, what feels good for you? And it doesn't feel like you're climbing that uphill battle constantly trying to do things that you just know aren't meant for you. Maybe you're doing it for your mom or for your dad or for your sister or people on social media, who knows, right? Your partner, it could be anybody, but really allowing yourself to be able to be fully expressed and have that direct line of communication with yourself is like, I didn't know it could feel this good to be this confident, right? Like there's also the parts of like doing what you say you're going to do. That's a huge confident booster. And that's something you can do like now. If you, like you were talking about, right? You set out 2 hours aside to do this one task and you're like, I did everything but the task. And it's like, if you were to just do the task, if you have the energy to do it, reflect on how you feel after that. And you're like, oh my gosh, I feel so much better. Like I did that. Even if it was the simplest of tasks, right? You can check it off your list and you're like, I did the thing that I said I was going to do. What else can I do? And it just kind of opens up this whole new way of thinking and seeing things and expressing yourself. But it's just all in a bunch of layers that can be very complicated and confusing sometimes. And it's like, this is why I love having people in accountability, right? Like you say, you were working with your clients who was like, I'm going to check in with you.
Yep.
How's it going? I do the same thing with my clients. And they're like, thank you so much for checking in because I wouldn't have done it. You know, and sometimes we just need that little extra support and accountability to be able to make those moves, because we're not supposed to do all of this alone. Life, business, like parent, all of the things. It's not meant to be a solo mission. We're designed as a human species to be in community. And we often forget that as women. And because we want to hold it all, right? I've worked with so many women, like my shoulders are just so tense. I'm like, do you feel like you're trying to hold it together for everybody? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I get it. Right. And then it just travels down our body and we feel all contorted and restricted. And it's like, if we can allow ourselves the space to be able to regulate our nervous systems, to be able to process some emotions, but also have people around you who can support you and lift you up and hold your vision and allow you to be messy and share things and not judge you. It's like, your life will change. I've 100%. Seen it. I've experienced it, not only for myself, but for women who come on my retreats and workshops. You leave feeling so light. You're like, I can do anything. And that level of confidence to be able to walk out that door of like, yeah, I got this. That's like a whole new way of living. And we're just breaking the cycles of generations before us.
Totally. And you said like the biggest thing, like there's a couple of takeaways that I have that I want to reflect on is you said the alignment piece. And like, I will tell anybody to find that alignment. It's not always easy. Like it wasn't for me. I'm still working on it. Right. Yeah. And I think the other piece that really comes from that is when you finally get there, you kind of start to channel in like, I need to make this change. In order for me to be more aligned, I have to make this change. And it can be, my sweet husband probably is like, wait, you're doing what? Like, you're okay. We're okay. Like, and he's like such a supportive man. But like, some days I'm like, yeah, I wish I could just have a moment where like, but I can feel when I'm not being aligned. And so the hardest part is with that is you have to change sometimes your life, which is a beautiful thing, but the process is really difficult. Right. Yeah. And I think that like, as you're even doing that with the confidence piece is you're like, okay, I feel this coming up. I have to do something about it. I have to align to this. That's going to be the game changer for me. But dang, is that hard?
It is. There's so many moving pieces, right? Because now it's not always just about you. It's about the people in your life. Other people, are they going to be affected by this, right? And it's like, sometimes you have to have difficult conversations with people that are not, they don't see the vision, and you're feeling yourself being weighed down and just energetically drained. Your energy's leaking all over the place, or people's energy's leaking all over you. And it's like, that is some of the more challenging dynamic parts. There's so many little like micro movements there. But overall, usually we know, especially as women, I'll speak for women, like our intuition is out of this world. If we can start to clear away some of the noise and the clutter that's been blocking it for a really long time. Like, even if my husband has a decision to make and he's kind of like in his head about it, he's like, I don't know what to, he'll ask me and I'm like, yes or no. And it's like, we can just channel those things once we start to clear just some of the noise that's in there. And it's like, not that he needs me for, to make a decision, but sometimes he'll just be like, hey, I want your input on this. Like, check in, feel into this for a second. What would you say about this? And I'm like, absolutely. And when you can hone in on that, you're like, we can do it for other people way easier than we can do it for ourselves for a lot of the time, you know, like that's just, for many of us, especially in the coaching industry, it's like, oh yeah, I can do that for all these people. And it's like, when it's then reflected back on us, we're like, oh, I don't know. Right.
Yeah.
Like,
it's the mirroring piece for sure. Exactly. Yeah. Well, and so I want to dive into one of the things that you said that you're really focused on right now, which is the nervous system. And I find it fascinating because, again, like, a lot of the tools that we all need is like how our mindset is and our self-awareness, good communication, like, and just like honestly having fun with life and stuff. And you brought up women hold things on their shoulders. And it's actually funny. I was just having this conversation with my husband the other day because I said, like, this is how I'm feeling. And he's like, well, sometimes I feel that way too. And I was like, well, why don't you say anything? And he goes, well, I'm an introvert. You're an extrovert. You had to like talk it out 20 times before it makes sense. He goes, I am a processor inside. So I think like he also has it on his shoulders sometimes, but how he handles it is different. And I think it messes with both of our nervous systems. So like, walk us through that process a little bit for someone to like figure out like, where is that blockage? And then what do you do?
Yes, there's so many layers
I
here.
bet.
And it's funny because my husband and I, we're the opposite of most couples. So I'm the internal processor. And he's also an introvert, but has a million extrovert qualities and tendencies. Like, he could have a conversation with a rock over there because that's just the type of human that he is. And it's so funny because every time we work with couples or other individuals, it's like, I can always relate deeper with the husband who likes to just hold things, slowly process. It took me a long time to be able to communicate my needs and what I was even going through, because I would dissociate. Like, if we got in an argument or something would come up, my go-to would just be like, I would just numb and just kind of appease and sit back, and where he would just go like, oh, I need to get this out immediately. And I'm like, oh, and I would just shut down. So that is not uncommon for a lot of, especially couples working in this world, or even if you have a job or different things start to come up. Right. Yeah. But it's all of our nervous system and how we react and respond to certain situations, about creating safety in our bodies. So any situation comes up, even like, I'll use this as an example. Sometimes you get a text message on your phone. You're like, right? Like, I don't know what to do. Your hands start sweating. You're like, get all tense. You feel the anxiety start to come on. That's just your nervous system having a reaction. It doesn't know what to do or process. Yeah. And what we'll revert to often is what worked for us at a very young age. You had that same feeling. You didn't get a text message on your phone. It wasn't a thing back then, right? Yep. But a situation comes up, it causes anxiety. You're like, so at that moment, whatever your coping mechanism was, that's probably what you've been doing for 20, 30, 40 years of your life. It just might look a little bit different, whether it was avoiding, numbing, having a panic attack, whatever, right? Whatever it was that worked to get you through it. And we're just still now as adults learning how to reparent ourselves. If you're in this line of, if you're in the realm of nervous system, mindset work, all of the things, we're learning how to reparent ourselves, giving us the things that we may not have access to, or things that the people who raised us didn't know either, right? Like that wasn't something that was an open line of communication, at least in my house. That was not a thing for me or my husband. Was like, let's figure it out, right? You got feelings? Figure out your feelings. I don't know what to do with that. So now we're just trying to figure it all out. And when we can learn, and there's so many different tools. Like when I work with clients, I have a 3-page list of different regulation techniques, depending on what situation comes up. Try 5 of these on for size, see what feels good. And most of them are so basic that we forget about them, because in this world, everything is complicated and over the top, instant gratification, right? We want things now. We want Amazon delivery in 2 hours to our house, right? Like that's the kind of society that we're living in. When we come back to our nervous system, these bodies have been designed for thousands of years, right? Like we have not caught up to this level of technology and how quick our society is moving. So we have to remember we have ancient technology in here, and we're dealing with like state-of-the-art technology out here. So it comes back to the basics of what our body needs, and how we move energy through our body and process and release is breath, sound, and movement. That's it. Like breath, sound, movement. Breathing with your mouth, making sounds to release in some form of movement, right? This is all going to start to release energy and move it through our bodies to create space. So what we're doing is just trying to create more internal space. Many women, we feel like we're up to our eyeballs with overwhelm, anxiety, all these things, stress. It's like, if one more thing comes my way, I'm going to snap. And it's like, well, yeah, no wonder, because we have no more space left in our body to be able to hold anything. And to kind of go off just on a tangent in a different direction for a second, if you're somebody, and myself included, who's trying to call in this next version of yourself, all of these opportunities, you're trying to manifest all these things, and it just feels like things are bouncing off of you, you don't have the space to hold it. There's no room for it to go. You want to call in 100 clients, you may not be able to hold one. So no wonder it's not coming, right? If we have a deep-rooted money story that's not sitting very well with you, but you're trying to call in $1 million, it's like, but our habits and beliefs and patterns around that are not going to be able to hold it. It may not come your way, right?
Totally.
So it's the space that we have, and we are a limited space, right? We're all energy. When we can learn where the energy is located in our body. So when I work with clients, and most importantly with myself, I have to do this as well. Something comes up, like I was laying in my bed the other night and I was like rolling over to go to sleep, and boom, anxiety hit. I attached myself to this thought. I'm like, well, shoot, there it is. Okay, great. We can either roll over, get on my phone, scroll and just numb and try to, get my mind off of it. Or I can bring in the tools of the mindset and the somatic body work that I know how to do, but sometimes I don't want to do it, right?
Totally. Yeah.
Like, okay, great. Is this true, right? You can start by asking yourself, is this thought true? What evidence do I have to actually support this, right?
Yes.
Is this even true? Probably not. We're just making this story, like we're collaborating with ourselves of like, yeah, this is true, right? We love to hype up our own BS of like, yeah, girl, you're right. You can't do any of this. Like that's comfy and familiar for people, right? We love it. We can thrive there because it's familiar. Now we're in that opportunity window of like, I can shift this if I wanted to. Where is the thought and feeling living in my body? Okay, let's say it's here, right? I can just drop in for a minute, center my thought, a couple deep, easy breaths, breathe air into the space that I'm feeling the tension and anxiety. Okay, great. Fill that area up with a little bit of air. And then just ask yourself, okay, self, what do I need?
Yeah.
And then you can answer that. And it's up to you whether you listen or not. And usually the first couple thoughts you have, that's your intuition trying to come out and be like, hey, give me this. And it might just be like, girl, you need some water. Maybe you should take a little walk, right? Like maybe do a little deep breathing for 30 seconds to a minute, just to release some of that energy.
Yeah.
Get it out of your body. Like I'm constantly walking around my house when I do deeper energy healing sessions with my husband. Like I'm moving around and shaking stuff out and just like breathing and screaming and just letting these things go. It's just no longer serving me in this space, but we have to have the safety to be able to express to take up a lot of space, right? When we're in those deeper, bigger movements. But if it's a small thought that comes your way, sometimes a simple song, you got like a little playlist that you're like, this is my jam. You can literally put on a playlist, turn the music up for 3 minutes, allow yourself to sing. Now you're expressing verbally, right? You're getting the sound out. You can dance a little bit. You can move, right? You're breathing, you're moving that energy. And that's a little bit more subconscious, right? That's just kind of like, let myself just release some of this.
Totally.
So that's one part of it. And then you can get into a couple deeper practices like breath work and things like that. If you really have some big things start to come up, you can intentionally start to move those things. We do a lot of inner child work, a lot of inner child healing, working with those parts of ourselves that we've shut down, right? Like my 7-year-old comes out a lot where she's feeling threatened or angry or bitter. And it's like, So I just have to work with her, right? And that's also you, when you ask yourself what you need, you're asking multiple ages and versions of yourself what you need, right? And if you are willing and open to listen, to receive, you'll probably get a lot of answers that you didn't even know you were already in you. Because we love to search externally. If I just listen to the book or the podcast or join this thing, it's going to give me what I need. And it's like, girl, you got it already. Like it is in there. We just have to clear some of the noise. And that's what I love to be able to do with people. So even coming back to your question, long-winded answer, of just finding some breath, sound, and movement practices, even just like a deep inhale, filling your belly up with air, open mouth, like that can regulate your system in a matter of seconds to be able then to make a different choice in the moment. And it's so powerful. We just forget. We forget.
Totally. Or to your point, we go to the numbing things like scrolling.
Yes.
Hand up.
Yes.
Right. Like
eating, shopping, anything, right?
Yes.
Like anything that's going to avoid and take our mind off of it. You're like, this is easy. And sometimes that's okay. Like we're human. Like, of course we're going to do it.
But at the same time, like breathing and movement is not hard either. We just have this story. Yeah. We tell ourselves these stories in our minds that we make it seem so hard, but numbing it is just as hard, right? Like, choose your heart, right? Exactly.
It'll come back. It's just, and sometimes if you're in a space that you're at your job, or maybe like in the pickup line to get my kids, and I'm like, I'm having like, you might not always be able to process.
Yes, totally.
There, it's not appropriate, right? You can tell yourself like, hey, self, if I'm still feeling this feeling later, like I'll come back. And then yourself is like, oh, like, okay, she heard me. All we want is to be seen and heard and understood.
Totally.
And that starts with ourselves. We want everyone else to be able to do that for us. But it starts here. We have to be able to give that to ourselves first. And that's just all a part of the process. But those 3 things, breath, sound, and movement, like those are all free. And you can access those like in seconds from anywhere. You can be driving in your car and put on a song. It will shift your energy in a matter of minutes. If you choose to.
Yes. And you also brought up like listening to your intuition. And it's funny because literally today, like something popped in my brain and I was like, oh man, I'm going to have to tell my husband that, right? Like, and I was like, well, let me reflect on that a little bit before I just throw him something. He's going to be like, okay, where'd that come from? Because of the work that I do on myself, right? Because I think also too, the other thing is the more that you do these things, like you're never going to be perfect. You always have to do the work. Like, I think I do the work more now than ever because I'm so conscious of it. The other thing though, is like when my intuition comes into play, it's so much heavier in like a beautiful way. And it's not always like a hard thing. It's more like, oh, I need to think on that. That just came to me, right? And it's okay if like I'm a problem solution girl, right? Like right when I have the answer, I want to go fix it. And now I've really had to work on the other piece of like, my intuition is telling me this. If I need to go deeper, spend some time there and feel into that body a little bit of like, okay, are the butterflies coming up? Did my stomach just drop? Like, am I not sleeping or are my shoulders feeling it? Right. Love everything that you shared. And I think that those are great, great tips for everybody. So I wish we could talk for like 20 hours because I have so many thoughts, but to close out today. So I'd love to just hear from you. Like, what is the one thing that people should be taking away from today? If you could leave them with one thing.
Yeah, I love questions like this. And I kind of touched on it before, but getting in the practice of asking yourself what you need is one of the most underrated things that we don't get in the practice often because it's unfamiliar, especially for women. We're serving everyone else, right? Our kids, our spouses, partners, friends, like, are you okay? Are you okay? Let me do this for you. Let me do this for you. And when you can get in the practice of, number one, asking yourself what you need and being able to receive support in some way, very uncomfortable for a lot of people because we all want to be that person for everyone else. And when we can start entering into a receiving energy, not for everything in our lives, right? But when you ask yourself what you need, right? Kind of like two parts, like, okay, self, what do I need? I need X, Y, and Z. And maybe that's I need to have a conversation with whatever. I need to have some more support with my kids. Okay, I don't know what that's going to look like, but okay, I'm going to listen to it.
Yeah.
And then we have to be okay to ask for what we need from somebody else as well. So it's kind of like a two-parter, right?
Yeah.
Like ask yourself what you need. And if you need something, are you going to be able to ask for that level of support? And that might, even just listening to that, for some people listening, they would just be like, oh, never. Like I could never do that. Like I was watching the new Netflix show that just came out with Kristen Bell.
Yeah. Nobody Wants You or something like that. Yeah.
Yes.
Nobody Wants Us. Yeah.
The episode we were watching last night, he came into a restaurant and the friend was like, hey, do you have a phone charger? I don't know if you've seen this episode.
I did. Yeah.
He's like, no, I don't. But give me your phone. And then he went and charged the phone at the bar. And she's like, did you just go ask her what you need? And they gave it to you? And he's like, yeah, I did. And she's like, oh my gosh, like that's unheard of, right? So like even something as simple of like that, she needed a phone charger. He just went and asked for somebody. She's like, what do you mean they just gave it to you? Because you needed it. I'm like, it can be that easy, right? Now we can't be responsible for what everyone else's responses are going to be to us, right? Let's say you need something and you ask somebody and they're not able to do it. Okay, we might have to work through some of those feelings, right? But really getting in the practice, what do I need? And if you need something, can you ask for it and be able to really receive it?
Love that.
And that will start to elevate your frequency of like, oh my gosh, I'm able to receive. Imagine what else I can do with extra support coming into my life, right? Being able to build the community and the friendships and the people and not needing something in return. That's a big core wound for me. It was like, well, if I ask somebody for something or do something, they're going to ask something for me, right? It's like, oh my gosh, you mean somebody's just going to be my friend because they like me and they don't need anything else? Oh, that was a whole one that I had to unpack in many, many energy healing sessions that I had to do. And I'm like, okay, let's go there.
Yeah, totally.
That will really start to open everything up. Like you're going to start getting in touch more with your higher self, different versions of you. You're going to be able to feel fully expressed when you can ask yourself what you need and then be able to deliver for yourself. That confidence is just going to be like totally. Just get ready because that energy will start flowing in. Like all of the stuff that you're calling in, like you're going to be an open channel to receive. And it's just such a beautiful thing when I can see this happen, not only for me, but for the women that I work with. It's like, oh my gosh, like this is unreal. And it's all things that we have access to all the time.
Yeah.
Because most of it is, outside of accountability and coaches and support, like a lot of it we can give to ourselves. Yeah. And that's such a beautiful thing. We can come back, remember who we are outside of all the noise and the expectations of like, yes, this is really truly who I am. I'm able to start fully expressing, even if it's like 1%, right? You put on like a bold color, right? You're wearing like pink today. And it's like, this is part of who I am, is to be able to wear this color and feel really good and be unapologetic of it. Like, yes, it's like, you will see things start to open. It's so beautiful.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Mallory, how can people find you if they want to connect with you?
Yes. So I'm mostly on Instagram right now, just at Mallory Campbell. My main website is under construction. However, I do have my retreat landing page that's available. So it's just, I think it's themallorycampbell.com/permission to activate. You can see more about what I do over there. I have a podcast called Permission to Activate. I just got this sign put up. The wires are still wiring and my husband hasn't put them in the wall. It's like my biggest pet peeve. I hate seeing wires on the wall, but I'm like, whatever, I'm going to keep it up. So Permission to Activate podcast, and on all socials, you can just find like my email list. I send out weekly emails every Sunday. It's an energy drop that has different wellness practices, journaling, different rituals, products that I love, like events, special offers, and discounts. All of that is just in my drop-down menu over on Instagram.
Awesome. Well, Mallory, it was so great to chat. Literally cannot wait to hear how everybody takes all of these tools and just appreciate your energy and what you bring to the table to help people. So thank you so much for being on the Confident Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. I had so much fun talking with Mallory about so many great conversations, so many tools, so many resources to really help you. And I know for myself, I walked away with some tools to implement into my life and things, honestly, that sometimes we just need that reminder of. But at the end of the day, I want you to remember one thing is that you get to choose yourself. And if you need support, I'm here for you. You know that. Just DM me. I've been coaching for years. I love watching people succeed. And sometimes we need that accountability. Also, we have a membership platform that is, if you want to go at your own pace, a self-pace, this is an amazing opportunity for you to really grow in being present, your goal setting, your mindset work, and all of these things that Mallory and I chatted about today. So again, as I always say in every episode, continue to spread love and kindness to everybody that you meet, and have a great day. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Confident Podcast. If today's episode resonated with you, head over to leadconfidently.org for today's show notes along with discounts to our services. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, leave a review, and follow us on Instagram and YouTube at The Confident Podcast. Your feedback means the world to me, and it helps more people discover the show. And hey, if you're feeling inspired to dive deeper, let's connect. You can find me on Instagram at Lisa Tarkington Official. Drop me a message and let's explore how I can support your journey to confidence and leadership. Remember, you have the power to choose confidence every single day. Keep showing up, keep striving, and keep believing in your potential. I'm cheering you on, and I'll see you next time.